Hey, what's going on, Guardians? TBL here, and the very first PC Faction Rally is just around the corner. And because this is the first time the PC crowd is going to be able to experience the Faction Rally, I thought it was important to make a quick video guide talking about what exactly the Faction Rally is, why you want to run it, what loot you can get from it, and of course, what's going to be the fastest overall way to get that loot. Because of course, there have been some changes to the Faction Rally from the previous time we had it. You're not going to be able to farm and earn tokens in the same way we could in the previous Faction Rally. Now, first, some PC players are of course wondering, what even is Faction Rally? Well, the Faction Rally is a week-long seasonal event that's available in D2. It features a competition between the three main factions of Destiny 2. Once the Faction Rally event is active, players will have until the weekly reset on the following week to earn faction reputation tokens, which can be turned into the faction vendors for rewards. You'll have to pledge to one of these three factions. The Dead Orbit, which is represented by Iraq Jalal, located in the Tower Hangar. The Future War Cult, which is represented by Lakshmi 2, who's located in that cool lounge right above the Tower Hangar. And finally, Executor Hideo and the New Monarchy, which are located in the Tower Bazaar. You'll be able to pledge your loyalty to any one of these factions, but be aware, you can only pledge one character per faction. So if you've only got one character, you can only pledge to one faction, and then you can't change your pledge until the next faction rally. This is where having three characters comes in handy. That way, you can try your hand at getting all of the loot from all three of the factions. And of course, they'll all offer different, unique rewards that are tailored to their specific faction and their specific creed. But anyways, once you've pledged, you'll head out into the world to complete any in-game activities to earn tokens towards your specific faction. Once you've earned about 20 of them, you'll be able to turn them in for a faction level up, which will of course grant you an engram and some rewards. Each engram you get will basically kind of count as a level up for the faction as a whole, and used to determine which faction overall had the most support during this faction rally. After all, it's a competition, and at the end of the Faction Rally event, the faction whose pledges acquired the most faction engrams will be declared the winner of the event. And for the duration of the victory week that follows the end of the Faction Rally event, the vendor of the winning faction will have a winner's offering available for purchase. This will be a special weapon that isn't available in any other way, that's unique to each of these three factions. And if you pledge to the faction that won, you'll be able to buy this weapon for a mere 1,000 glimmer. The special rewards per faction that will be available this time are a New Monarchy sword if they win, a Future War Cult fusion rifle if they win, and finally, a Dead Orbit single-shot grenade launcher if they win. So let's really not let Dead Orbit win it this time around. Get those tokens up, guys. But there we go, that's basically the gist of Faction Rally. So let's move this guide over to talking about how exactly you'll be able to earn those tokens in the least amount of time. Because that's what we're here for, right? The grind. Now, some of you console players may be saying, oh, well, this part's easy. All you gotta do is go run some lost sectors. Well, unfortunately, that's no longer the case. There have been quite a few changes to the Faction Rally, and specifically to the sources of the tokens that you're going to be searching for, that completely changed the way the event's going to work. In the previous Faction Rally event, lost sectors were far and away the fastest way to earn tokens. This had to do with the way enemy resources worked. You'd go into a couple of lost sectors, they would spawn these weird boxes that you could break, and so long as you didn't complete the sector, by beating the boss and opening the chest, you could just break those boxes, get 5 to 6 tokens, walk out of the lost sector, wait about half a second, turn around, walk right back in, and they would respawn. It made farming really, really easy. And of course, so long as you were willing to bang your head against the wall with the monotony of just doing that over and over again, you could grind out faction tokens super quickly. But that's not going to be the case this time around. So then, what should you be doing to earn the most tokens in the least amount of time? Well, from now on, doing your Nightfall is definitely going to be worth it. Nightfalls will now reward 10 to 18 faction tokens on the first completion per character. At the upper end of that, 18 faction tokens, that's basically a free level up with your faction. So getting that done at the start of the week, right when Faction Rally begins, is definitely going to be worth it. It'll give you a nice little head start. Then after that, heroic public events are probably going to be your best bet. Now these did get nerfed too. In the previous Faction Rally, you could get up to 8 faction tokens per completion of a heroic public event. They've knocked that down to 5. And I imagine that was done just to keep it kind of competitive with the Strike playlist, so they can incentivize you to go in and run those instead. But if you've got a pretty competent team together with you where you're clearing public events in no time flat, chaining those heroic public events is probably going to be your best bet for getting the most amount of tokens in the least amount of time. You'll now get 5 faction tokens per completion of a heroic public event, so if you're chaining those pretty quickly, if you can complete about 3 heroic public events in the time it would take to complete a strike, well, you're coming out on the positive there. Those will still prove to be a very lucrative way to get your faction tokens up. After that, strikes. They've been revamped so that they're a little bit more worth your time this time around. Strikes will now reward faction tokens at a range of 5 to 9 faction tokens per completion. This is up from the previous 3 to 7 that they rewarded in the previous faction rally. Now this is kind of a good change because in the previous faction rally, strikes were basically worthless to run. You got 3 to 7 tokens per completion. It took a lot of effort. Strikes are much longer than heroic public events or lost sectors. And so they were easily the least lucrative way to make your resource gains in the faction rally last time around. And that looks to be changing. Now that you're getting 5 to 9, if you've got a good fire team together and you're able to clear strikes pretty quickly, it could be a good lucrative way to get some faction tokens. Probably not going to be as fast as chaining public events though. And finally, replacing strikes as the slowest way to farm up faction tokens is of course lost sectors. They've removed the ability to destroy enemy resources to gain faction tokens, and now you'll simply gain 3 upon opening the lost sector chest at the very end of the sector. So you gotta go through the whole thing, kill the boss, open the chest, then you'll get 3 faction tokens for each fire team member. In a clear nerf to lost sector's overall effectiveness, but hey, we knew it was coming. But alright, so there you go, Guardians. Now you know what faction rallies are, and you know that basically the fastest way for you to get those faction tokens up is probably going to be running heroic public events. That's very likely going to get you the most bang for your buck. So start off the week getting your Nightfall done. Then if you want to get stuff as fast as possible, just start chaining heroic public events. Maybe head to the European Dead Zone, or if you get lucky with a couple of Titan spawns, you can just bounce back and forth between the rig and the starting zone. And you should be swimming in a sea of faction-based loot in no time flat. And hopefully it won't all be duplicates this time around. But alright Guardians, that's it for this quick guide. I hope you guys have fun in that faction rally. If you're new to faction rally on PC, well, I hope you get some new stuff and not all duplicates. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Oh, and by the way, thanks so much for tolerating me. I know I sound a little bit weird in this video. I'm still getting over being sick and barely got my voice back and using it to make videos for you guys, so thanks for watching. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.